Welcome aboard the Ear to There podcast, the podcast that'll help you vacation like a pro in any Disney destination. For those of you standing, please sit down and hold on throughout our journey and get ready to learn how to have the time of your life. And now, here's your host, Phil Gramlich.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to There podcast. My name is Phil Gramlich, and I am the owner and operator of Ear to There Travel, a Disney specialized travel agency. I'm here to help you vacation like a total pro in any Disney destination, including Walt Disney World, Disneyland, the Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, and Disney's Aulani Resort in Hawaii. You can find my blog, podcast, money-saving tips, or request a free no-obligation quote over at eartotheretravel.com. Thank you so much for listening, and now on with the show. I'm sure this has happened to you. You're out walking somewhere and a certain smell hits your nose and instantly transports you to another time and place. Our sense of smell triggers vivid memories in our minds all the time. Don't ask me how, it's science. But I do know that some of my favorite memories of Walt Disney World are connected to certain smells around the theme parks and resorts. On this episode of the podcast, we're going to talk about the best smells of Walt Disney World. Here to explore this topic with me is a man who is a fellow former Disney cast member and an annual pass holder. He's a guy who spends so much time in the Disney parks, he frequently smells like every food item sold on Main Street, USA. Backed by popular demand, Chuck Rodriguez, welcome to the podcast.
Oh, thank you, Phil. Thank you for having me back so soon.
Yeah, well, it's funny. This is probably we're taping this, what is it? It's March, it's mid-March, and
Yes.
this probably people won't probably be hearing this for a few more weeks, so it won't feel, so horribly close to the last time we did a podcast. All right, but no, thanks for coming back on. It was a lot of fun last time, and
Yes, it was.
and this is an interesting topic. I think
It is.
It's been listen. It's not a new topic, right? It's been done. It's on the internet. People have read it. There's bloggers and podcasters that have done this already, but I just think that there's something about the smells in Disney, right? That instantly, when you think about it, you can almost smell it. You know what I mean? When you talk about the certain smell, your nose, you can almost smell that part of Disney in your nose. It's the weirdest phenomenon.
Yes.
So I think it's just a fun topic to talk about. So, all right, so let's get right into it. And this time I flipped a coin. I called heads. It was heads. So I'm going to go first this time.
Okay.
And it's mostly just so you don't steal my first one.
No problem.
So, all right. So my first one is this smell is all over the place in Walt Disney World, but there's one spot that it always hits me, and it's the popcorn. Of course, it's the popcorn, and it's right when you walk into Main Street, USA. You go under the train station, and to your left is that red popcorn cart.
Oh yes, and from the guest relations.
Absolutely, and there's no better way for me to get my day started than smelling that popcorn, even if it's 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to breakfast. The smell of that popcorn instantly hits you, and you just feel like you're on vacation. Like, it's just the coolest thing. And Chuck, I think you know this story already, but I'm going to tell you to bore you really quickly. So I'm so obsessed with the Disney popcorn that I've researched what they use the exact recipe, the kind of oil they use, the kind of popcorn. The seasoning, I got it all down, and I bought one of those home popcorn kits or popcorn makers,
Yes.
like a red popper, and
Yes.
I have it in my office, and so I can have the Disney popcorn whenever I want. So so everyone knows it's how strangely obsessed I am.
That
with
is
Disney
dedication.
popcorn. Yeah, with the Disney smell, it's just awesome.
Yes, and I totally get what you mean, because especially because that particular one is right at the entrance. So yes, of course, then it's almost like an official declaration that you've arrived at the Magic Kingdom because you smell that first, especially if you enter through the left instead of entering to the right. Obviously.
Yeah, yep, and it's for me, it's more about it. Like, it's just like, for some reason, it signals my brain that just I'm relaxed and I'm in Magic Kingdom, and yeah, it's one of my favorites. So, all right, so after the popcorn, we're over to you for your first one.
Well, I was going to say real first, what's my weird connection with that popcorn stand, though?
What's that?
is that the water fountain behind it is always freezing cold, and I always wind up drinking from it on the way out.
All
It
right.
never fails. That water fountain is freezing cold all the time. Never fails.
That's interesting. I wonder
Yes.
why that is.
I do not know.
All right. Well, that's a good tip. If you're really thirsty on your way out of Magic Kingdom, after you eat the popcorn, hit the cold water fountain behind you.
Yes, don't waste your $4 on a bottle of water.
That's
Just
true.
go to that fountain.
That's a good tip.
Yes. So mine. Okay. So my first one is going to be the Plume et Palette store in France at the Epcot.
Okay.
The France Pavilion. So that is the store that sells all the ridiculously expensive colognes, I guess, and perfumes from French companies.
Right.
And the reason that I've really been noticing it a lot is for two reasons. Well, probably, two main reasons. Back here as an annual pass holder again, is that I like going to Impression de France, the movie. I can see that movie all the time. Especially if it's a hot day, I can sit there and I can watch that same movie. I probably have seen it already 40 times. But while you're waiting, because if you get there when the movie's not starting, then you've got a good 20 minutes and the clock, counts down or whatever right inside the lobby. So I walk around and obviously the perfume and cologne store is right there. So you can smell it from pretty far away. You can walk around the pavilion and still smell it. And also because I'm obsessed with the artisan ice cream at the France Pavilion now.
course.
So while I'm eating that, and I stroll past the cologne and perfume place as well, because the little area on the other side of it is a nice little quiet area. And you could sit there, and there's usually never more than like two other people at any given moment.
Yeah.
And so I do associate the smell from those colognes and perfumes with a bit like a good 20-minute window of being at Epcot that I try to do as many times as possible, and it's a very pleasant 20 minutes really.
What's funny is I think I never ever like walk back to that part, but now that they serve the ice cream back there, I'll walk through there every time. Well, I'm not a big. We'll get to this later in the podcast. I have a weird story, but I'm not a big perfume wearer per se or cologne wearer. But yeah, I do like to smell that place when you walk by, and you have to get the ice cream. And yeah, there isn't anybody back there because I don't think anyone. It's weird because not a whole lot of people go to see the movies anymore in Epcot.
True.
And I think a lot of people miss that even though that store's back there because they're kind of they walk along the lagoon pathway and they don't really go into the pavilions as much as they probably should.
That's probably true, yes.
Yeah, but that's a good one. And I like how you said the name of the movie. What was it again?
Impression de France.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna get a hate email from somebody who is French saying how you butchered the name again. All right, so that is a good one though. All right, so for my second one, here's another cool one too. I'm going to the Beach Club, and the lobby of the Beach Club I don't know what it is about the smell of that place. So Disney uses, and I'm sure you know, but for everyone else that doesn't know, they use these like industrial scent machines to push the smell into the lobbies. They want you to feel like trigger something when you walk in. So what the Beach Club uses is a smell called green clover and aloe, and I could sit in that lobby all day. You walk in and it just calms me down. There's something about all the Disney lobbies; they all smell awesome. But yeah, the Beach Club lobby for me, you're at Epcot all day. It's 95 degrees. You take that long walk from Epcot over to Beach Club to get back to your resort, and you're hot, you're sweaty. If you're me, you're pushing 2 strollers at a time, and you push them into that. The double doors open, and you walk into the Beach Club lobby, man. And I just love that smell. That's like one of my favorite smells in all of Walt Disney World.
Yes, you're obviously obsessed with it because I was listening to your podcast while I was at the gym yesterday, and you discussed it during the one with what was it? The why did they get rid of?
Oh yeah,
yes.
That's funny. I didn't even realize I talked about it before.
And I had a feeling it would come up again because this time the topic actually is smells, and it makes sense. I mean, I know your personal connection with it. And speaking of the Beach Club and Yacht Club lobbies, do you remember the greeters that for years there was these two guys, right? Art was at the beach club, and I forget the name of the guy at the yacht club that was there, but always. I mean, I'm assuming they had so much seniority, they probably only worked Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 or something like that. Yeah, their schedule was probably perfect. But if you ever walked into the lobbies during during time frame, they were there.
Yeah, those guys were great, and I know one of them passed away.
I did not know that. No.
Yeah, I forget which one. I remember reading about that online.
I think it was Bob. Bob was at the yacht, and Art was at the Bob and Art.
And they were always dressed in like their admiral outfits. Yeah, when you walked in, that was great. That was a cool part of.
They were a bit elderly, those two gentlemen. So I would assume one of them might have passed away. That's true. Yeah, and exactly.
No, go ahead, Chuck.
Oh no, I was going to say, but speaking of the whole thing about a scent in the hotels, the entire hotel industry has adopted this. So Marriott, Hyatt, Hilton, they've all done it. So yes, it is just a point about getting a company to make a very specific scent for you, so that it can pump out of the little machines in the lobby of your particular hotel. So obviously, if Disney has how many resorts now, like 25 or whatever, so they could have 25 themed scents, I suppose.
Did you know that they sell? You can buy those for your house, those machines?
Yes, you certainly can.
So I've looked into it. That's how
I'm sure you did.
That's how insane I am.
But it'll overpower the smell of the popcorn. That might not be a good mixer.
That's a good point. And it's so expensive. And I showed my wife, and I got the absolute shoot down, instant shoot down. So we just go with I'll just buy a couple candles and light them. That's kind of what we do around here.
All right, so probably better.
Over to you, Chuck, for your next one.
Okay, my next one. I'm assuming you might have this one. And it's a bit obvious, but still, I genuinely do enjoy it, and it might be one of the few things about the attraction that I do enjoy, which is in Kali River Rapids.
I don't have that one.
Okay, because they do pump when you're going up the lift and through the mist. They do pump jasmine and ginger, and I must say it's obviously one of the nicer. Little effects of the attraction, especially because over the years, some of the other effects, they just don't even bother turning it on anymore. So, and I've always thought Kali River Rapids, actually, out of probably the 5 different River Rapids rides that I've been on around the world, it is my least favorite because it is the shortest and not very exciting except for the one drop. But it really does transport you to thinking that you're on a river in Asia, especially when you start off smelling that jasmine and ginger.
So first of all, Chuck, you know that we're trying to get people to go to Disney, right? So we probably should have badmouthed a whole lot of things, but yeah, I'm not a big water or like rapids ride guy. What you probably have found by listening to any of these podcasts is that I'm kind of an eccentric, maybe strange dude. I can't stand.
I didn't have to listen to the podcast to know that.
Right. I don't like my clothes being wet at all.
No,
I can't.
It. You're like the Wicked Witch of the West.
I know.
The Wizard of Oz.
I can't handle that at all. And so here's a funny story about that. Actually, when we were on our honeymoon, Amy, my wife, I couldn't get her on. She won't ride thrill rides at all. So we're perfectly a match made in heaven. Because I love the thrill rides, but so she won't get on them. She's ridden them. She's once in a while I can talk her into it. But now since we have little kids, she has the easy built-in excuse that she doesn't have to go on any of them. She'll just stay with the kids, and it's fine.
Exactly.
But when we were out on our honeymoon in Disneyland, yes, we did honeymoon in Disneyland for those people who want to see how crazy my Disney obsession really is. But we ended up in Hawaii, so that was different. But I wanted to do the Splash Mountain out there because I had never been to Disneyland, and I had never, obviously ridden their Splash Mountain. So I bought a poncho. It was like 75 degrees. I bought a poncho just to ride Splash Mountain, and they don't even really sell. It doesn't rain in Southern California. They don't have the lady had to like go.
No, there's literally a song that says that.
Yeah, they don't. So they were the cast member at the store near Splash Mountain out there. She literally had to go into the back of the shop to find me a poncho.
To find one.
Yeah. So I wore the poncho, and then I rode the ride, and then I threw it out. I didn't use it again. But
of course you didn't. So
that's why I'm not a big River Rapids guy. I've ridden that ride once, the Kali River Rapids, and then I've gone through so I can do the queue and take pictures and all that, because the queue is one of the coolest things about that attraction.
Oh yes, it is definitely one of the most elaborate.
But funnily enough, I didn't know that there was smell on that attraction at all. So thank you for bringing that
Yes,
up.
and it is quite unique. I being here in Orlando as an annual pass holder for both Disney and Universal, like nowadays because of our phones, I actually find it more of a chore to go on the River Rapids rides, even though I don't mind getting wet at all, especially during a really hot, summer days, because I know that less than an hour later walking around, I'll be dry anyway.
Right.
And especially now because I wear, those polo shirts, those duo dry polo shirts and whatnot. So, but I will plan specifically for it. And for Kali River Rapids, I'll bring a little Ziploc bag and I'll keep it in my pocket because I don't trust the thing in the middle where you cover it.
Right.
It's not that secure. And so I'll just stuff everything in there, and I will treat myself to Kali River Rapids once in a while. And you only have a 1 in 4 chance of truly getting wet.
Right, because you go under like the waterfall, right?
No, when you drop,
okay.
When you drop, if you are, because I believe it is 8 seats of 2 or maybe 10, so it might be a 1 in 5 chance. But anyway, if you're in the 2 seats that are facing backwards as you go down, you will get wet. Maybe if you're on either side. Unlike Popeye's Bilge Rats at Universal, that's a different story.
Yeah, you go right under the waterfall on that one, right?
Yeah, that one, it doesn't matter where you sit, you're gonna get drenched regardless of what happens. So that's a whole other experience that you might on a hot summer day here in Florida, you'll go there just for that and then just come home and get dry.
Right. Well, what's funny is, speaking of you not minding getting soaked, we once were in the Magic Kingdom with you, Amy and I with our kids, and it was hot, and to make the kids laugh and to cool yourself off, you went over to the Casey Jr. train.
Yes.
And just had the water pour all over you for like 5 minutes. They thought it was hilarious. You got soaked, but yeah, thanks for doing that because that's one of our kids' favorite memories.
You're welcome. And for what it's worth, I've done that even when I've been in the park alone without family, friends, or children around me.
So yeah, if you're at Magic Kingdom, you see some strange Cuban man standing there getting soaked by himself at the Casey Jr. station, that'll be Chuck. So go say hi. All right. So from the Kali River Rapids at Animal Kingdom, I am going to a different park, back to Magic Kingdom. To Frontierland, and again, this is one that you can kind of smell from different places everywhere. But for me, the turkey legs in Frontierland smell amazing, and
they do.
Just walking through, you feel like, especially at night when they have them, and you have the lights on, and it feels like you're in the Old West with the ambient lighting and the music, and then
the flickering,
yeah, the lanterns. And then you're walking, and you just, that smell hits you. And I love the smell of turkey legs. I don't eat them. I've had one in my entire life. I'd rather have a churro or a soft pretzel if I'm walking through Frontierland. But the smell of it, man, it smells like they're cooking on an open fire somewhere in Magic Kingdom. And it's just awesome. It's just it's a really cool smell, and it makes me really hungry. Like I said, even though I'm probably not going to eat one. I love it when you see like a mom pushing it. I saw this once where there were like these 4 strollers went by me, and like in 3 of the strollers, kids were eating Mickey ice cream bars, and in the 4th stroller, there was a little kid with a turkey leg. He was like 3 years old, and he's like chomping down on his turkey leg, and it just cracked me up. But yeah, one of my favorite smells in the parks is the turkey legs.
I do also connect with that one. Yes. I have eaten the turkey leg a couple times, and it is 2,000 calories, if it's correct when I Googled it.
Again, we're talking people into going to Disney.
Well, does that mean you go on vacation, you treat yourself?
Chuck, calories do not count.
Exactly, calories do not count when you're on vacation. Now, as a local, you have to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more choosy when you will eat those things. So I've only eaten a couple of times, but that with an order of French fries from Pico's Bill, well, not anymore, of course, because they changed the menu to Mexican. But yes, that's a delicious meal. And also, what I associate late at night when you're walking in that area, and usually, especially after the parade and fireworks, that area, Frontierland, is pretty unpopulated. I mean, it's not crowded at all. And late at night, and no one ever believes me, although there was one time when I was there with my family and they saw it, so they know I'm not crazy. There is an alligator that is almost always there near the shore, I think begging for people to throw it a turkey leg.
That's really funny.
It's very, very often that I have seen this. Now, there actually is a YouTube video from a few years ago where in the middle of the daytime, the alligator started getting up on that part of Splash Mountain where it's the log, it's the flume track, but it's practically at the same level as the lake.
Right.
And there's a video of a manager with one of those things that picks up garbage, making sure the alligator doesn't actually get into the flume before the people could come and take it. Which I remember when working at the Yacht and Beach Club, I had to do with a snake one time, so that people didn't realize I had to do the same exact thing with a snake to make sure the snake did not get into the lobby.
Oh man.
But yes, and I have seen the alligator, and I'm convinced that he sticks around that specific area late at night because some people start throwing them little chunks of turkey leg.
Well, they built the darn park in the middle of the swamp, right? So
so it was going to happen. It happens once in a blue moon.
Snakes and alligators, and I remember
it happens once in a blue moon.
When I worked at I didn't work there very long, but when I worked over at Fort Wilderness, you'd see like crazy animals all the time. I remember parking my car and in the morning and seeing armadillos running across the parking lot. And you get a little freaked out when you see stuff like that. But yeah, don't worry. The alligators, they're all animatronic. Even the ones on Splash Mountain, they won't hurt you. All right, so from the turkey legs, Chuck, we're going over to you for your next one.
Okay, I have picked a rather subtle one. I don't know, not everybody's going to get this, but it always recalls a memory from all the years. I guess I've been either a cast member or an annual pass holder for maybe almost 15 years out of my 40 years in this world. So I've had many chances to go and watch either Fantasmic or Illuminations or Wishes late at night in the summer when there is an electrical storm coming, and so you're standing there and there's an electric storm coming, and you can see in the distance, but there's a smell in the air because of the electricity and the humidity, because it's been like 95 degrees with 100-degree humidity all day long, and there definitely is a distinctive smell in the air as the lightning begins to come. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, actually I have. It's
yes.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, yes, I know people definitely notice it, and it is distinctive. And I personally, when I'm just running around the parks, I suppose I don't notice it. But the times when you're actually standing there at the World Showcase Lagoon for, maybe 15 minutes or so, waiting for Illuminations to start, or standing in Main Street waiting for that to start, or Fantasmic is probably the best one because you're actually sitting there. And of course, you're always hoping that it's not going to be such a bad storm or so close by that they're going to actually delay or cancel the show. But yes, it's a very distinctive smell, and I associate it whenever I go to the theme parks here when I brave it at night during the summer, because usually I don't bother going in the daytime in the summer at all. And at night, it is quite often that you sense that quite often.
Yeah, so I have noticed that smell, and you're right, it is really distinctive. And if you're a local, I think you tend to pick up on that a lot more than if you're there on vacation, just because it's something you kind of get used to a little bit.
Yes.
But instead of trying to figure out if the lightning storm is coming by sense of smell, what you can do is they have these apps on your smartphones where you can just download a radar so you know it's coming.
All right, there, smart Alec. But
we're not all bloodhounds, and we can't all pick up on it. So I do recommend, in all seriousness, I do recommend for people to get one of those radar apps when you're going to Disney, so you can.
Yes.
The storms, man, they can sneak up on you fast.
Yes.
And then you can get stuck. Like if you're somebody like me, which we already said, I don't like having wet clothes. We've sat in restaurants with the kids for an hour because we didn't see the storm coming. And all of a sudden you look outside and those, it doesn't even start with a drizzle. It starts, you feel that first 1 pound drop hit your head and you're like,
that's correct.
No, you have about 30 seconds before that rain is coming. So, but no, I was only trying to give you a hard time. I do know that smell.
No, although I was going to say in making this list and remembering that as one of the smells that I like, I do remember the days back before smartphones when I first began to go to Disney World so much more often than most people that I knew. So when I did go with people, I thought at the time it was impressive. Now I think it's pathetic. that I used to suggest where to stand for illuminations around World Showcase Lagoon by licking my finger, putting it up in the air, and seeing what direction the wind was blowing at that moment so that the smoke from the fireworks would not hit us.
Nice.
I used to actually do that. I'm not going to lie.
This was probably like in 1982. When you first started going.
No. This would have been, the 90s, but yes.
Yeah. All right. So that's an interesting story. So let's go. Yeah. So from you licking your finger and like a cowboy and trying to figure out which way the wind is coming, I want to go I'm going to go out of what park were we just talking about? We weren't. We were talking about the smells of the skies and the light.
Yeah. So in general, yeah.
So this is another weird one for me. I'm going to talk about. Hold on one sec. Just so you know, Chuck, thank God we're not taping this live because my dad just walked in the middle of taping.
I didn't hear anything.
I'm going to edit this out. What's up?
104.
104?
She put two more things on.
All right, thanks.
Sorry.
That's all right. He didn't know I was recording. Okay, so I'm going to just start that over again.
Okay.
All right, sorry. So, where were we? Okay. So, this is another really interesting one, and it's a strange one. So, kind of bear with me on this one, okay?
All right.
So, I'm going over to Epcot and the World Showcase, and I'm going to the Norway Pavilion, which will soon be the Frozen Pavilion. And I'm going with the smell of just the shops in the Norway Pavilion. I know this may sound weird to you and some other people, but they have this perfume that they sell there. It's called Layla, I believe it's pronounced. It's
yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's really strong. It's a strong smell. And it's like a flowery kind of citrusy smell. I can't really explain it, but I love that smell, right? And here's the really weird thing about it. We always walk through there anyway because I really like that pavilion. But I love the smell of that so much that Old Spice, okay, they don't make it anymore, this deodorant called Komodo, and the smell of it was almost exactly that smell.
Huh.
So I bought it and used the deodorant, and so they discontinued it, and I was so bummed out that they were discontinuing it because I liked it so much that I went on eBay. This is, again, me. I'm insane. I went on eBay and I found someone who was selling like 10 sticks of it, and it was like completely marked up too. It was like $2 more per stick than you would have paid.
Sure.
And I bought them, and I still have them now. I think they discontinued it over a year ago. And I still have like 5 sticks of this deodorant, and I'm spacing it out because I want it to last. So I only use it when I want my Disney fix. That's how insane I am. But yeah, so the Layla smell from the Norway Pavilion is one of my favorites, and that's just another story that shows just how Disney insane I am.
And I'm assuming you associate it mostly with exiting Maelstrom because we kind of were forced to walk through the gift shops.
Yes.
Yeah.
And now it'll be, again, we'll just now you'll have to let it go in your head when you're walking through that gift shop.
Well, literally let it go.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yes.
Right. I am. You know what though? I'm excited. I can't wait for it.
I have no problem with it.
I know people are so bummed out about Maelstrom closing, and I wrote this in a blog that I wrote, and I've talked about this before. When in the world did you say I have to get my fast pass for Maelstrom today? Because I can't. If I do nothing else in Epcot, I have to make sure I run straight to Maelstrom. You never did that because
no.
That ride it wasn't popular at all. You could always get on with a less than 10-minute wait, and things change in the park. So I'm excited for the Frozen ride. I know people are bummed about it, but I'm really excited to see what they do with it and what they do with the animatronics, and the Elsa animatronic looks like it's going to be really, really super cool. So I'm excited to see that.
Agreed. And I think that all they need to do with Layla is just slap a new name on it, like Elsa, and just keep selling it.
Yeah, exactly. This is what Elsa smells like. You want to smell like
That's
Elsa?
right.
You can buy this and take it home with you. Yeah.
It might offend Norwegians, but it's a small country. Does it really matter?
And now comes the
5.
next angry email that I want to get this week.
from the 2 Norwegians who are listening to this.
All right, Chuck. So hey, you're up next. Let's get out of the Norway.
Okay. How many do we done? How many do we have left? Because there's one that I want to finish on.
So I just did my 4th. So this will be your 4th.
This is my 4th. Okay. Then in that case, I am 4th. So let me count here. 4, 5. Got it. Okay. So we're ending with 7 or 6.
We'll just go for a couple more minutes. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then I'm gonna go with Horizons.
Okay.
God bless, rest in peace, Horizons.
So you're not following the actual rules of best smells of the Disney parks because it's not there anymore.
That's correct, because it was.
You're breaking
and
the rules.
Was it? Does it have to be still existing?
Well, you know what? I didn't specify.
No, I know you did it. That's why. That's why. So it is. In Horizons, may it rest in peace. It's probably the only Disney attraction that I honestly wish they would just be like, what the heck? We'll just build it again. And there was the scene where you smell orange. Yeah. And I realize that now you smell orange in Soarin', but obviously it's just not the same connection because it is a beloved ride that unfortunately towards the end never had a line. But also that's probably because it was a very fast moving, omni-mover ride. So it could take a huge capacity. But I would ride it constantly. It closed in January of '99, and I was living in Orlando permanently. I actually moved on Halloween 1998, so I had about 2 months in a week to ride it as often as humanly possible, and I would sometimes 3 times in a row. Nice. And when the vehicle would pass the Mesa Verde Desert Farm scene, you would smell the orange. And so I will always associate that with that ride because I do love it a lot. I do miss it.
Yeah, that's a really good one, and I love that one too. I think I got the chance to ride that maybe 3 times in my entire life. So I didn't have the crazy connection to it that so many people had. So I wasn't too bummed out when I got rid of it. But yeah, for me, the orange smell's always been Soarin'. That always kind of that's where I get my orange fix in the parks. But they I'm hoping they keep it. I hope they keep with the new renovation of Soarin'. I hope.
Well, it depends on which scene you fly over that it could possibly make sense with.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm sure they'll have new smells and new things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That'll be a bummer if they get rid of it. But yeah, that's a good one. I like the oranges and horizons. All right, so this is going to be my 5th one. So I have a couple more left on my list. So let me see what I want to go with. All right, so here's what I'm going to go with. And this has been, kind of beaten to death on the internet, but I'm going to talk about it anyway because I like it. It's the smell of all the indoor water rides in the Disney parks.
Oh, okay.
Like Small World, Pirates,
yes.
Living with the Land. They all have that same smell. It's like chlorine mixed with, I don't know, like chlorine and water that's been sitting around too long, maybe.
Yes.
I can't really explain it. It's just very distinctive. And if you've ever been to Walt Disney World, right now, I know as soon as I mentioned it, it was like, you smell it. You're like, oh my God, yeah. I know what you're talking about. It's just a weird smell. It's the Polynesian lobby actually used to have that smell before they renovated it. Now it doesn't have it anymore. Now it's like it's a very toned down version of that, but they don't have the huge water feature anymore. But to get my fix, my local fix of that smell, there's a huge.
You built a pool and then you just let it sit there.
So in my office, I made a miniature Pirates So there's at our local mall. There's a big fountain, and it's neat. It's like it has like these, I don't know, like hundreds of jets, and it's a cool.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one at Plymouth Meeting.
That's right.
Yes, Plymouth Mall.
Right. So Plymouth Meeting Mall in Plymouth Meeting, Pennsylvania, has this big fountain, and it has that same exact smell. So I'll make sure I always have change in my pockets when I go with the kids to the mall so we can step out of the fountain. They throw money in and think it's hilarious, and I get to sit and think I'm in Disney for a couple minutes. So that's my 5th and final favorite smell in Walt Disney World.
That is a good one, and and like you said, yes, a lot of people talk about it because it is distinctive, and it is the same with any of the water attractions, including what used to be for Maelstrom, and I'm sure eventually it will be for the Frozen ride. And I have noticed that when there's an extensive renovation for some months afterwards, the smell it's a different smell. It's definitely a cleaner smell. Yeah. I'm sure it is, obviously, because of renovation. But then after a while, with the Florida humidity and all the fact that the rides are used, 18 hours a day, 365 days a year, is just going to come back. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah. So, and for me, it's a good thing. I like it. But yeah, you're right. When the Frozen, I forget the official name of the attraction.
Yeah, me too.
Frozen Fever Underwater. When that starts, it will be it'll be different. It'll smell nice and clean and fresh.
It'll smell different, yes.
But within a year, you're going to get that smell back, and it'll make me happy. So, all right, Chuck, so over to you for your last one.
Okay, so my last one is actually going to be, I know you're going to think this is cheesy, but as you walk into the Magic Kingdom with when I walk into the Magic Kingdom with family or friends like you and your wife and your children, or my parents and my brother and sister-in-law and my nieces, who are probably the people I go to the most often with, and you walk in and the kids have so much joy, and I say that what you're smelling is happiness. You are smelling happiness. And I know that you're not saying anything right now because you know this is complete baloney.
I'm trying to figure out how to best handle it.
You know that I'm way too cynical to say something like that. So my real one is...
I was going to say, this isn't the Chuck that I know.
No, my real one is actually, some people call it nauseating, but because I associate it with, unfortunately to this day, still the greatest job I ever had in my life, I've always been searching for a job that could be as good or better since. When I was a Disney Institute program coordinator, a big part of the job was the Yes programs, when they would obviously be in the park in the Magic Kingdom before it even opened. And they would go to, let's see, there was either the Tomorrowland side or there was the historic one that would go to Frontierland and Liberty Square. And anyway, I had to be there at the crack of dawn and coordinating the program until it's over. And I would always smell the incinerator behind Splash Mountain. Now, I know not only do cast members or locals understand this, because I definitely have heard it from other people, especially in the summer. It can be nauseating how disgusting the odor can get from the incinerator that's over there behind Splash Mountain, for those of us lucky enough ever to go to backstage and actually see that area.
Right.
And it is what it is. Again, I mean, the incinerator system is incredible. It was beyond its years when it was invented, and it's still better than anything they use in other theme parks around the world.
That's true.
Because you don't see the garbage. And it's very easy for the janitorial cast members to just dump the stuff, into certain places, and then it just goes to the incinerator. But unfortunately, because of the wind and the heat, there are times when you are going to smell it. And if you're in that area of the park, you're going to smell it. It's very strong.
I thought that was a turkey leg smell when I was over there.
No, thank goodness the turkey legs actually smell better.
It is that system that they use to get the trash at that incinerator is one of the technological marvels of the world. The way they install that, and for people that don't know, it's if you're in Magic Kingdom was built. The water table in Florida was so low that they had to build Magic Kingdom on the second floor. So underneath the Magic Kingdom, there are these things called utilidors. And if, like Chuck was saying, if you're lucky enough to be a cast member or take a tour and see the utilidors, there's this huge chute that goes throughout the utilidors, and you can hear the trash. Right?
Oh, yes.
Getting sucked through this huge chute on its way to the incinerator. It's a really amazing system that they put in there. But, yeah, so that was a very pleasant smell to end on. So I'm going to actually throw my bad smell in as well to kind of end on maybe a funnier note. So this is a bad smell this isn't one of my favorites, but Stitch's Great Escape, in the Magic Kingdom.
Yes.
Is an attraction that's been, let's say, not the biggest success since they got rid of the terrestrial, Alien Encounter and replaced it with this. But there's one moment in particular that kids absolutely love, and I think every adult absolutely thinks is disgusting. And it's Stitch steals a chili dog, eats it, and burps it directly into your face. And
yes.
It's a great effect. You have to give Disney the Imagineers that. It's a phenomenal effect because you feel hot breath and the smell of the chili dog. It is unmistakable. It's obviously the smell of a chili dog.
Yes.
But they have the things, they're called smellitzers, right, that project these smells. I think they could have used anything else in that attraction. It would be way better than the chili dog smell. But it's something that when it happens, every kid in the crowd on that attraction screams and laughs, and every adult like coughs and tries to get their heads away from it.
Like, ugh.
It's gross, but it's such a funny part of the attraction. It's probably the best part of the not a great attraction.
It probably is, and it does justify the whole reason that they replaced Alien Encounter, the brilliant Alien Encounter, with the under mediocre Stitch Encounter, because they did feel that Alien Encounter was too intense and too scary, and unfortunately parents would bring their kids on there not knowing what the heck they were doing or what they were getting themselves into. And so yes, in order to make it as child friendly as possible, it made sense that they would put in a joke like that kids on the children's level, they totally get, and they think it's hilarious.
Right. And even though there were signs everywhere that said this might be too intense for young kids, it was very kind of out of character to have an attraction like that in Magic Kingdom. But do I miss that one. That was I love that attraction.
Yeah, me too.
And Stitch, it's fine for kids, and people who haven't done it before should still do it. It has some pretty cool animatronics. When they work, the Stitch animatronic is great. The guns,
the yes,
laser guns are a really cool effect when they're working. I've been in there so many times when they're not working, so that's kind of a bummer. So you don't get the whole experience if they're not working. But I can't imagine it's going to be there forever. I have to think they're going to use that space for something. For something new in the future. I know Disney's heard it. We're not the first two people that have said that's not a great attraction. So,
oh yeah, it always rates in the lowest of the low.
Yeah,
always.
so we're going to go out on that note. We had a lot of good smells and a couple of bad smells. But I hope we're not dissuading anyone from going to Magic Kingdom with the chili dog and the incinerator smells. But anyway. All right, Chuck. Well, thanks. That's going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming back on. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, sure. And we'll do it again because, like I said, you are back by popular demand. I did get a lot of emails about your last podcast appearance, so it went well. So I'm not gonna kick you out of here. We'll bring you back on.
Okay.
All right, Chuck. Well, thanks again for giving me the time today. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That'll do it for this week's episode of the Ear to There podcast. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope you had as much fun listening as we had talking about this topic. If you enjoyed the podcast, please check out the blog over at eartotheretravel.com. It's full of interesting articles, fun stories, Disney recommendations, and a lot more. You can also head over there to request your free, no-obligation quote for your Disney vacation. I'd love to help you plan your next trip to any Disney destination. And remember, my services are always free of charge. Thanks again for listening, and watch out next week for the newest episode of the Ear to There podcast. Have a great week. Bye-bye.